All right, welcome back to Market Day Report. I'm Scott Shellady, otherwise known as the Cowguy. Thank you very much for sticking with us as we go into the last bit of the day here. Let's take a look at how these markets look, right? Corn, we were doing well, 16.25 cents higher here in that March corn. 670.5 is last. We've been as high as 672, about a couple, 1.5, 2 cents off the highs. May up 15.5 cents as well as 668.25. Moving right along, let's see. Well, the Dees, let's make sure we take a look at that Dees. 604, look at that new crop. Boy, oh boy. How about soybeans? Let's take a look at what we've got going on in the new crop, or the beans and the new crop beans. 26 cents higher in March to 1627.5. About, what's that? 5 cents off the highs, 4.5 cents, 5 off the highs. May up 23.5 cents, 1627. Boy, these are just big numbers. Let's take a look at new crop. What's new crop doing? New crop beans are going to be up. I can tell you that right now. I can go out on that limb. 5.5 cents higher, 14.69.25, making their way to $15. Boy, oh boy. All right, how about Chicago wheat? What do we have happening over there? Chicago wheat's up 44.5 cents. Boy, 841.5 is last, 2 cents off the highs. May's up 45 cents, 848.75. Again, 3 cents off the highs. Some big numbers in Chicago wheat. Let's take a look at the hard red wheat in Kansas City. Kansas City up 44 as well. 879.25 last in March. That's going to be 2 cents off the highs. May is up 44.25 cents as well. 884 even is last, and that's 2.5 cents off the highs in May. Boy, these are just big changes on the day here. It's going to be bumpy, folks. I mean, just to see this type of a move. March spring wheat in Minneapolis up 26.25 cents. 987, making a way towards $10 here. 990.5 was the high, so 3 cents, 2.5, 3 cents off the highs. In March, spring wheat in Minneapolis, May is up 27.5 cents to 988.75. And let's see what cotton's done. It's about where it was last time I checked, 85 points lower, 120 spot 78. Let's bring in Ted Seifried from Zaner Ag Hedge. Ted, we're getting up to the heady heights here. How much oxygen is left, number one, and how much do you want to gamble on it going even higher from here?
Yeah, that's a good question. Fundamentally, I am really rather bullish for corn in particular, soybeans number two, and then not quite as much for wheat. But if you look at what wheat is doing today, obviously the market is really rather excited about, in particular, the Russian-Ukraine situation. What we're trying to do, Scott, is figure out if Russia annexes the part of Ukraine that it sounds like currently in the process of doing. Well, how much of the production of Ukrainian corn and soybeans is lost? And that's about 40% of their growing area. Now, I haven't been able to go through and figure out where the yields are the highest and, basically county by county production and things like that. Let's just say it's 40% of the growing area, roughly. If that were to happen, that takes some production away from the Ukraine. And if the rest of the world is sort of boycotting Russian grain and possibly crude oil, that could just be less grain, or in particular wheat, and then also corn for the rest of the world to have. So I really feel like that's what the market is doing. Now, the question really is what happens? What's the Western world going to do with this? And I don't think we have solid answers to that yet. So as you said earlier, I really do feel like this is going to be a bumpy ride. I would rather be trading other things right now because, again, I am rather bullish corn and soybeans for other reasons. But because we are trading the news right now, Scott, this could be really volatile.
Yeah, it's going to be really volatile. That's what I think, too. All right, we're going to go away, pay some bills. We're right back to talk livestock with Zaner Ag Hedge's Ted Seifried after this. All right, thank you very much for joining us as Market Day Report. I'm Scott Shellady, otherwise known as the Cowguy. So let's dive right in to see what these markets are doing because ultimately these markets are your money. How about live cattle? I'll use that as a cheap segue into that market. Live cattle here, we've got that April market up 22 cents. Not much happening over here. 146.10 is last. We've got June up 35 cents at 141.85. So moving right along over to the feeders. They've been taking a little bit of heat because of what's happening in corn. March down $1.55 to 163.87. April's off $1.90 to 168.95. And then let's take a look at lean hogs, which have been just basically full of helium all day today. April's up $2.60 to 112 even, about 65 cents off the highs. May's up $2.32 to 115.67. Again, that's only about 20 cents, 15 cents off the highs there. So we'll keep an eye on those for you. Let's bring back in Ted Seifried from Zaner Ag Hedge. Thanks for staying around. Ted, what do you think about these livestock prices?
Well, predictably, the feeder's down a bit because, corn is up 15, 16 cents. So that makes sense. But, it's really interesting to see live cattle hanging in there and being back on the positive side of unchanged. We tried to pressure cattle early, but it bounced off of some very key support. Overall, it looks like a bull flag on the chart right now, and you really haven't been able to back off. Cash hasn't backed off. And it's the feeling that we've got upside potential in cattle. But again, keep an eye on the feeders because, corn looks like it wants to have some more upside potential as well. As far as the hogs are concerned, we are flying. The hogs is a tale of extremes because, we were, I think, sharply undervalued for quite a long period of time in the hogs. Now we've corrected that and maybe then some. Now you've got your speculators really getting involved in that hogs market because they really like the chart. And now we might be overdoing it a little bit to the upside. But that's okay. Markets do that. And I'm not saying that it's done yet either. But as a producer, you might want to be looking at taking on some hedges here at this point because, wow, look at these prices, especially compared to where we were when we went off the board in December, for example.
How much of the options market have you been embracing with your customers?
Oh, yeah. I mean, look, when you have volatility like this, options can be your friend in a big way because, futures can eat up a lot of your bottom line or your operating costs. So using cash marketing and then using options to re-own or using options to set floors, things like that, it's a very valuable tool, especially in periods of high volatility like we have right now.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's going to be the way going forward because we're just getting to such high prices here. You never know when that auction's going to run out or the music stops. So really appreciate being on today, Ted. It's been a crazy day. Ted Seifried, Zaner Ag Hedge. He's in Chicago. We're going to bring him back to Nashville so I can throw this over to Tammy.